Hello, everybody. This little mini lecture is to give you some background to Greek tragedy as an introduction to Antigone, which is from a play from ancient Greece, one of the ancient Greek tragedies. And so just to give you a little better feeling about what kind of context this play comes out of. Now, there is in the background the context of the Greek question, which is part of this week's material. So the fact that this ancient Greek city-state of Athens is experimenting with a new kind of politics. And the Greek question of how are we going to decide what to do as a society if nobody's telling us what to do? Because in the ancient world of that time, most societies were run by godlike kings, becomes our short phrase for that. They weren't all exactly the same, but there was some version of special people with special contact with the gods or some supernatural power like that allows them to be the leader. That means they should decide what happens. And so these ancient Greeks are like, no, we're not going to do that anymore. Let's see if we can figure out things for ourselves. Nobody could declare special authority. Nobody's going to save us. We have to figure things out for ourselves. So that's a very important piece of background for thinking about Greek tragedy, because this is the art form that they developed when they were trying to figure out a new way of doing things. So I'm going to ask you to think about, as we go along, what that connection might be. Why would a play like Antigone be helping a society, a community, one of these city-states, figure out their new kind of politics? So here's a little bit about Greek tragedy in general before we start talking about the play Antigone specifically. First thing, I'm going to emphasize again that it's a new art form. It's brand new. So artists are thinking about it as a new kind of thing, and the people who go to watch it are experiencing it as a new kind of thing. We're not totally sure how it evolved, like what came before this kind of play. There's a lot of discussion about that, and they didn't leave us much evidence about how it all evolved. So it's a little bit mysterious. We do know it was part of a public festival, a normal ritual, religious springtime festival called the Festival of Dionysus. Dionysus is one of the gods of ancient Greece. And that festival predated these plays probably by centuries. So it's a normal kind of time in the calendar for them, and it's just the play is a new part of that religious festival. Dionysus, you could go ahead and go and look up on the internet to learn more about Dionysus, but Dionysus was the god of wine, the god of grapes, god of celebration, god of intoxication. And so the plays are part of that religious festival. So it's very different than what we're used to in terms of movies, television, and even theater. It's very different than how we experience theater now. It was performed at an outdoor stadium. So it was done during the day, outdoors. It was meant for the entire community. So the idea here is that a play is being put on and that we're all supposed to go watch it, which is why I think it's can be seen as part of the community figuring out how to solve this Greek question problem. The outdoor theater had a kind of horseshoe shape. I think we're going to show you an image of the remains of one. And it's estimated that 17,000 people could fit into this amphitheater in Athens, the Dionysus Theater, I think it's referred to as. 17,000 people coming to watch this play on the side of a hill one day during a festival. Actually, they would watch for, I think, 4 days worth of plays. So it was a big part of the festival. It was also a contest. So playwrights were competing against each other. I think there were just 3 playwrights. They would each write 4 plays, and each playwright would get a day. But when you're watching this as an audience member, part of you is thinking, who's doing the best job here? So it was a contest. How the contest happened is, I think, really interesting because it shows you just how radically democratic this community wanted to be. So to pick the best playwright any particular year, they would, by lottery, pick 10 members of the audience. So by chance, any 10, if you were there that day, it could be you'd be one of the judges. And then after all the plays are performed, the 10 judges would vote for a best one. They'd mark it down somehow and throw it in a hat or whatever it was. And even then, it wasn't majority wins. They would pull 5 of those lots out. And whoever had the most votes of the 5 would be the winner. So weird little detail, but it shows you how obsessed they were with kind of democratic processes and making sure everything is fair. All right, that's kind of the background. I'll probably do a little bit more when we talk about Antigone specifically in this week's module, and be on the lookout for after this little mini lecture. We'd love to get your thoughts about how the art that you experience, mostly movies and TV, I assume, connect to your society. Are movies and television shows helping you think about how we all live together? What might you say about that? Just think out loud, whatever occurs to you. And you could also just think about theater, because theater is part of our American culture, but it has a weird place, right? You might think about whether you've ever even been to the theater, who goes to the theater, why do they go to the theater? But to spend a little time thinking about how art, especially narrative stories, movies and television, if for us, they're playing a role in helping us figure out how to live together. So we look forward to seeing what you have to write about that.